SoloMoms Talk was designed to curate the stories of solo moms globally. As a facilitator of this platform, I aim to create a peaceful environment where you can share your heart, feel loved, and get the advice you need. So if this sounds like you, why not RSVP for our next virtual meetup? The link is below. It's where you can retreat from the chaos of your life so you can recharge, connect with other moms, and get answers to your burning questions. Remember, you're not alone and you don't have to parent in silence. My guest today is Carrie Leaf. Thanks for coming and talking to us today, Carrie.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
Yes, for sure. I'm glad to have you. And I'm looking forward to getting to know you better and for our audience to hear about you. So tell us about Carrie.
Yes, so I am a practicing psychotherapist and holistic mindset coach. I work, what I've focused on lately in my practice, or kind of niched down to, I guess I should say, is identifying where people are stuck, identifying where they're repeating patterns, and ultimately identifying their negative belief systems in life that are keeping them stuck or holding them back from everything, a more fulfilling, happier life, and identifying those, clearing them out, replacing them with positive belief systems, empowering people to take charge of themselves, their life, their health, their mental health, all of the above. And so that's where I'm at now. Prior, I have jumped around to tons of different mental health clinical settings, and this is where I've landed.
Okay. All right. Great. Thank you for sharing. What brought you to addressing the issues that affect us?
Yeah, good question. So I've known for a long time that this is what I was going to do. I've known I would be in the mental health helping field in some way, shape, or form since about middle school for a handful of different reasons. But along the lines, what landed me to where I kind of specify and specialize in now is, since I've been practicing for 15 years and some change, like I said, I've worked with a lot of different populations, mental health, substance abuse, university setting, outpatient, residential, military, all kinds of different populations for different reasons, different issues. And it came down to seeing over that time and in my practice, the things that worked, the things that didn't work, and the things that I was repeating myself over and over again with every single client, no matter the age, the population, the gender, the race, no matter what, right? And that led me to kind of developing my step-by-step approach that I'm going to walk anybody through, and the importance of taking a holistic approach, looking at mind, body, spirit, which might not necessarily be the most popular or widely used approach in mental health, but, in wellness in general, they're just so interconnected, and to work on one without the other, it doesn't make sense. They're in our society, they're disconnected, and that doesn't make sense. So seeing what works and what doesn't work, and where I've seen the most progress with my clients, that's what's landed me here.
Okay. All right. And it makes sense that, mental health is interconnected with other aspects of our lives. And, I'm no expert in the field, but from experience, I can tell that when I don't eat well, I don't feel well. So, and when I don't sleep well, I don't act well. So, I understand that it's all interconnected. And most moms can, relate to that because
we're so tired.
We're always tired. And so,
always tired.
Yeah, of course, one thing could always lead to another. So let's talk about your book briefly. It's written now, right? It's
yes.
Published? Okay.
Yes, it was released on Amazon in October.
Okay. And tell us about the book, tell us the title so we could go look for it and talk about why you wrote it and what, briefly what it's about.
Yeah, the title is Therapize Yourself. And the book was just a spilling out of, like I mentioned, all of those things that I found myself repeating over and over again. So it breaks down my process, kind of what it's going to feel like if you walk in to see me for therapy or coaching. Here's what we're going to do. Here's what it's going to look like. It's kind of that, I see it as that bridge between somebody that like wants help, has never asked for professional help. Maybe they're just starting to dabble, they want to do some self-help. And it can be that bridge between working on yourself and then getting ready to walk into therapy or coaching and having an understanding and idea of what it might look like and feel like and what the process might be, because it's scary. It is scary to ask for help, and it's scary to reach out, and there's a stigma, and there's lots of thoughts and feelings behind it. And so the first chunk is really, here's my process. Here's what it looks like. Here's what it feels like. Trying to encourage and motivate. There's exercises along the way. And then towards the end, the first half is that kind of an assessment process, kind of scanning your life, assessing your life, where you're at, where we need to work on. And then after that, we're going into, okay, let's dig a little deeper. What's the real issue you want to work on? Do you want to work on stress, anxiety, relationships, parenting? What do you want to work on? And then how to jump into and figure out what's the negative belief behind your problem, your issue. And it's really set up to be, a lot of my clients have been with me for a long time, and they've grabbed the book and they've gotten the feedback of, wow, this was just a great refresher, reminder for me to check into different areas and environments in my life that I kind of have forgotten about because I've been tending to another one.
Right. Okay. So it can be a stepping stone toward, therapy, person to person, or going alongside of while you're getting professional help.
Absolutely. Yes.
All right, great. So we'll put a link to your book in the show notes so people can get that, I think there may be few of us who don't need therapy.
I have never met anyone yet that couldn't benefit. I have therapy right after this, actually.
Yeah, so, that should be helpful. So what are the most common problems, that we face that might impact our lives on a broader basis, that you help people with?
Yeah, if we're looking broad, it's the negative beliefs and it's the patterns. Every single one of us is walking around with 1 or 10 negative belief systems. Now, this is generally on a subconscious level. We're not walking around telling ourselves these things consciously all day, every day. Some of us are, some of us are aware of them, but even if we're aware of some, there could be deeper rooted ones that we're not aware of. And so that is, it doesn't matter what you got going on in your life. I promise you there's a negative belief system behind it. And that is actually the true problem. People will walk into my office and they're coming for a zillion different reasons, but what they're coming for and what they tell me they want to work on doesn't necessarily end up being the real issue that we need to work on. Right. So I do work with a lot of anxiety, relationship stuff. Now, here's the thing. I work with so much trauma, but people aren't coming into my office saying I've got to work on my trauma or even realizing that it is trauma. But I work with a lot of trauma. There's the big T trauma and the little T trauma. And people don't always necessarily see those little T traumas as adding up to be pretty profound in their belief system and how they feel about themselves.
Right. Yeah, that's true. I saw a therapist for a long time, maybe 10 years. And when I went to him, I went to him because I felt overwhelmed as a solo mom. And it just looked like I needed somebody to talk to. But during those 10 years, I was able to get stuff out that, I hadn't dealt with. And so a lot of times we don't even know what we want or what we need until we sit on the couch and start talking to Carrie or whomever, right?
Yes. And ultimately, we do know. We're the only ones that know, but we don't know how to get there without a guide, right? And I like how you mentioned that you came into therapy for overwhelm because so many people feel or believe that they need a major severe problem, like debilitating problem, to jump into therapy. Well, my problems aren't that big, or I've never been, I don't have trauma or whatever. No, stress. We're all stressed. We're all stressed. We can all benefit from having someone help navigate those waters.
Yeah, yes, for sure. And I think sometimes just having someone to talk to, an impartial person, it's not your parents or your friends or your kids. It's just someone who doesn't really know much about your life, but you can freely talk to them. And my therapist I love because he didn't talk back a lot. I could just throw things at him, and he was quite happy sitting there and letting me talk to him. And so I think it's a valuable tool in our arsenal of self-care to have a therapist or whomever, whatever professional we need. I also like that you incorporate, the different aspects of our lives into the mental health part. So tell us a little bit more of that work, and then, tell us how we could get in touch with you.
Yes. So, taking the holistic approach, like I said, it might not necessarily be the most popular method. People shy away from it or separate them, but they're so interconnected, and I got to meet clients where they're at. If they're not ready to go to a certain area, that's okay. We'll get there when we get there, one baby step at a time. But, there's so much science now behind the gut health, the three brains, our brain, our head, our heart, and our gut, because those can relearn. They're the three brains because they can rewire, they can relearn, and they're powerful and they're interconnected. And if our gut health or, our physical health is off, we are not able to process well. We are not able to be clear-minded and make good, healthy decisions. And then, the issues or the stress or the overwhelm or the problems in our life snowball from there. We can work on mental health symptoms all day long in therapy or coaching, but if you are sleeping 3 hours a night, eating fast food every single day, and not moving your body at all, we're going to be extremely limited in the progress that you make, because what sometimes shows up looking like mental health symptoms are actually derived from physical health issues that are trying to, like, your body is like the car alert, the alert signals in your car, like low oil, engine, check engine, those mental health symptoms can sometimes straight up be physical health symptoms. And it goes the other way around too. Our mental health symptoms can cause, irritable bowel syndrome or ulcers or whatnot, it goes both ways. So to look at one without the other, we could really be barking up the wrong tree. And I have just seen major drastic improvement in my own and my clients' life when they start going down that physical health journey. And then they're like, wow, my mental health problems aren't as severe. And now I have a more solid foundation to address them from.
Yeah, it makes absolute sense. I mean, it's like, your blood pressure is high, here's a pill, as opposed to, let's see why your blood pressure is high.
Yes.
So I appreciate that you're working on that level, because it's a more, I think, an intelligent level for you to work with. So tell me, what is Carrie grateful for today?
Oh, good question. I am always going to go to health, just being grateful for good health. And let's see if I dive into that anymore. The second one would be mindset, that I can appreciate that I can work on and change and rewire my mindset to be grateful more often too.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for sharing. And one piece of advice you'd give a solo mom period.
What I would give a solo mom is, for advice is give yourself grace. We have so many we have so many messages within our own head and from the world of how we should be.
Yeah.
And I want solo moms to take the shoulds out of there and the comparing out of there and relate to and connect to their humanness and be, give grace for, whatever they didn't find up to par that day. Give grace because tomorrow's a new day. And look at the wins that you did have. Maybe you didn't exercise for an hour today like your friend did. That's okay. Maybe 10 minutes was enough, or maybe you do it tomorrow. Flexibility and grace, because when we are hard on ourselves and we beat ourselves up, we take what could be a little frustration or a little road bump and we make it a huge, huge problem that snowballs and spirals. Give yourself grace.
Yeah. Thank you. When did you realize you could therapize yourself?
Yeah. So therapize yourself. That title, therapize isn't a real word. So that title, there's a couple meanings to it. Right. When people would ask me, what I'm in school for, or what do I do for a living? And then the follow up, I tell them, and the follow up was always, are you therapizing me? And I'm like, that's not a word. I don't even know what that means, but it always cracked me up. It always made me, giggle. And I really liked the word. And then the other side to that is that we are our own best self healers. No provider, no therapist, no coach, no doctor knows you like you know you and knows what is exactly right for you. Therapizing yourself in my heart feels like empowering yourself, taking charge over your mind, body, and spirit, and taking that journey to unlearn some things and relearn some things, but ultimately that journey back to who you are, your true self, your authentic self, not what we've been taught necessarily by society or been told or been put into a box, but take charge of finding out who am I and what do I like and what do I not like and what makes me feel joy and happiness and my best self. Find your best self, therapize yourself. You're your best self healer.
I love it. Absolutely. And I agree with you. All right. So tell us how we could get in touch with you, where we could find you on the internet, etc.
Yeah, 2 places that are going to be the easiest. My website, carrieleaf.com, and then Instagram at Carrie Leaf Coaching.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Carrie, for coming and talking to us today. Anything else?
I think you had some great questions, and nothing that is coming off the top of my head other than if you want to start somewhere with any problem in your life, like I said, that grace and baby steps. We don't change overnight. It's a journey. Take the baby steps and celebrate the wins along the way.
Okay. Thank you very much for sharing with us. And I hope you'll come back sometime.
I would love to.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm excited to share that SoloMoms Talk is now on YouTube. Check out these interviews on our new channel, SoloMoms Talk TV. There you will actually see the interaction between myself and my guests. You will also find bite-sized clips of daily inspiration to help you manage the struggles of everyday life. So click SoloMoms Talk TV below to watch now.